welcome to another Tech Tip Thursday. This week we're looking a little bit at our last year's end of course data, and we have put this data into a Looker Studio report to try to help with the visualizing of the data and using it to inform instruction. So the biggest reason that we as a curriculum team have put this together is to help improve instruction. So one of the things you should know about Looker Studio is you have the ability to limit and sort things here, okay? So I can come up here and choose what test administration. So if I only wanted to look at spring, I could choose only spring, right? And I can come back up here and choose them all. So if I wanted to, I could look at only one school. So let's just pick on Towpath, because they have a lot of testers, so I knew it wasn't going to take very long to restrict that report because I'm not taking out that much data. It seems like the more data it's taken out, the longer it takes, but I really don't know what makes it take so long. But then we filtered down to Towpath High School, right? And we have their data, and we can look at the graphs for those competency levels. We can do the same thing on test. We can filter it by test, and we can do both. We can filter by school, by test, by administration, and narrow it down even more, okay? And we do have these charts which show us the performance levels. And I want you to know, if you click on one part of this chart, it's going to then filter by those students. So now we're only seeing the students who got a 1, which of course all of 100% of those students who got a 1 got no competency, right? If you should happen to accidentally filter and you get this report turning gray so that it's showing that it's excluding this data, now it's excluding all of that data and we have some more of them as competent, you can always come up here and just hit reset, okay? And another interesting thing I want you to know about is if you come up here and you choose government, of course, that competency chart is going to completely disappear because there's no competency score. The competency scores that data here is only for the math and reading competency scores, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring those back. And I do want to look, and I think this is actually going to be more valuable to the teachers. I want to look at some of the Strand analysis. I'm going to go to government, and this is mostly because government has one of the simplest Strand analysis to look at. So they do get more complicated, and you can dig in, and I think as teams you'll dig in more. For me, I just want to talk about how you can modify the data, right? So you can go ahead and choose to just look at the data from your school. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to put anyone's data out there on blast, but then you can compare it to the average score and see how you did, right? One of the things that might be really interesting as a department team to look at is what are our weakest areas, right? So if I just look at the overall data, the weakest area is historic documents, right? And the strongest area is Ohio policy and economy. So most students do really well on the Ohio stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And I want to look at, of those students who do well, which one do they do worse at for the other stuff? And it's definitely the historic documents. So looking at this data, I might really hit the historic documents. Now, I'd probably filter this down and look at the students in just my school, right? So I might reset it and choose a specific school and look at what is the highest and the lowest for that school, okay? Now, English is a little bit different because English has our performance bands, just like the other ones, with reading, writing, well, with reading informational text, reading literature, and writing, right? But then we also have writing subscores, and these are really interesting because I think one of the stories that this tells is probably that some students didn't do it, okay? Some students just plain did not write. And if you come in here and you filter and you reverse it, you're going to see there's lots of blanks where students just did not write. So this is something that we as a department can work on, as an English department, working to get more writing from our students. Anyway, I hope you'll take a few minutes, play around. Remember, if you click on something and it filters, now you're filtered down to less testers, and this is even less and even less. Okay, so, we're down to only 2 testers that we're really looking at. It didn't refresh these. You can always come up here and hit reset, and it's going to reset those graphs, okay? But take some time, look at this analysis and see what story this data might tell you. Hope you have a great week. Thanks. Bye.